It's so depressing, Joe, when we don't hear the song, isn't it? It is so depressing.
It's my life.
No.
It gives me life.
Every TCP needs to start with the good vibes. Like, now you guys can actually see us through the intro, and we're vibing out basically every time. John and me, anyway. You're like the party pooper of the bunch. But
he hears his voice all the time. I bet, it makes sense that he doesn't want
it rattles the cage, I can't do listening to myself screech in, weird improvisational harmony. Can't do it.
Well, that's sadly how it's going to be today. Not vibed up. But what I'm vibed up about is our patrons.
True.
Let's get that out of the way, because that's the thing that I always forget, and somehow I remember it miraculously looking at those notes. So, thank you to Refined Bean, Frodinho, Battlecrab, Lulshin, Rex Sains, Sir Girth the Lord, Porkchop Sammy, Kasha67, Chara, Nathan Your Misery, Fabled Steven, Roger B, Chris R 34444, Bronzebot Buhao, Hotel Bravo 11. Was that the last one that joined, Joe? There was also Jake, right? I remember.
What happened
Jake.
to?
Oh yeah, I believe.
What happened to
Jake
I listen?
H.
What happened to I listen to Yiska on the toilet?
I guess we're not hating everything when they disappear. I took care of that. No, thank you a lot for continuing to support the show. As you can see, Daddy's not home this week. Hopefully back next week. Had something important to take care of, and I'm sure we'll be back in action soon enough. We also got so much to talk about, Joe. It's like everything happened and is about to happen ever in Overwatch history. Everything is just compressed into like everything, and now we got to squeeze it into 2-hour podcast. So let's shotgun these topics a little bit and move along, because we gotta do the fat news that we saw. We gotta do the review, the preview, and I got a bone to pick with you Chinese experts. So let's start with the big one, right?
All right, from the top,
make it drop. You didn't even intro me.
That's some wet ass predictions.
With like absolute trash songs. Do you just like, what is going on?
You didn't even intro me. I just sat here and you talked to Joe like I was like
true.
A wheel.
Well,
yeah.
If you keep using these references from absolute like bottom of the barrel songs, then that will happen. Actually, you know what happened last time when John wasn't here? Because I know what happened, because you're still on the graphic, and this graphic is still relevant. And of course, Kenobi is still on the overlay. So last time John wasn't here, you actually helped us out.
Actually crazy. He's the new Batman.
Put up the signal when I'm there.
We put up the signal and Kenobi comes running.
At the same time, there's enough Chinese Overwatch that happened that also warrants an appearance of the Kenobi. We lit the signal. Actually, Chengdu lit the signal. Yeah, sure.
Can I just capitulate at the start of the show? I have to apologize to any and all Chengdu fans. I know that I predicted them.
You flip-flop
at the end of last show, but on second thought, I was struggling with my hubris and my absolute Chad energy, and I put Shanghai. But I'm not the only person who flip-flopped. There's a certain other regular host on this show that also flip-flopped from Shanghai to Chengdu.
Yeah.
He was a little shy,
but
he got the
it's
true. You know.
Well, let's shove that out a little bit, because we got a big one to talk about.
Right? Yes.
And I feel this is a serious one to talk about. And I talked a little bit about it on Twitter, but I used to have a serious WoW problem in in school. Basically, I think within the first 6 years of WoW, or 7 years, I'd almost 4 years played. Of course, everyone that played WoW has an idea what playing means, which is half the time you're in Ironforge, not actually playing. Sometimes you're also sleeping because you just want to keep the service warm, or like have an auction thing running, or a bot. And it's not real playtime, all of it for sure. But point being, I spend a lot of time in the universes that old Blizzard created, and a little bit of that spirit felt still contained within Overwatch, in the Overwatch community in terms of the game development. And I can't help but feel we lost the best bastion in that regard. And we've, like, old Blizzard is no more. There has been a lot of speculation. I think everyone has a gut feeling of... It's also, let's be honest, there's also a lot of... We know Jeff to be the good guy that shows up on the dev clocks and like cares really about everyone involved. And also I exchange stories with people around the industry, and that is all true. Like, Jeff actually goes out of his way and does unorthodox stuff out of protocol all the time in order to engage with people. But yes, there's this idea that like basically everything good is now gone with him, and that we're getting like the capitalists are taking over, and Overwatch is going to just like succumb to whatever monetization schemes is going on. Yeah, I'm not sure if we have the evidence for that. It makes some sense for sure.
For sure.
In essence, Overwatch was a very pure game, or is a very pure game in what it does. It doesn't try to give you a carrot outside the game for you to grind and like achieve new things, or like grind for anything substantial, anything like reputational. You don't need to unlock heroes. That's all. Like, that has all been kept from us for the longest time, and a lot of us now fear that with the departure of this man, this is going to change. It's also going to create a vacuum of someone that had just like the infinity gauntlet of charisma when it comes to game devs, right? Watch a BlizzCon and just like go through each panel about the guy that's responsible for each game, never mind the company, and just like measure up the charisma levels and the fun you're having while you're watching that in comparison. Even when this guy's entire content has been leaked like the day before he's about to sit on stage, he still makes it entertaining somehow, right? So in essence, we lost a leadership figure. We might have lost a guardian. We don't know. We certainly lost someone from the old guard. We hope to gain him somewhere in a position where he can still make a difference and actually give us a game in the next 5 to 10 years that is worthy of the feeling that we all had when playing these Blizzard games. And admittedly, haven't felt in a long time outside of Overwatch when playing Blizzard games.
True. Definitely some magic lost. But as sad as it is, I'll be the hopeful optimist in this. Obviously the old guard of Blizzard is coalescing elsewhere with their new studio led by the Morheim family, I believe, in Dreamhaven. And rumor has it that's where Mr. Kaplan, Papa Jeff, is probably going to end up. So will the magic be recreated? It's tough to say. I don't know if we'll ever be able to recapture, early Overwatch or like early World of Warcraft, like you're referencing, who, Jeff was I think he designed like Westfall and like some of the first like quests for like the original base game, and did some encounters, I believe, was pretty heavily with that, and obviously led the Overwatch team. I don't doubt that they have plans in the works to kind of, try to recapture that old Blizzard magic and try to really go back to their roots with that new studio. So there's definitely a home for, our hopes and dreams, on the horizon. And I guess the big question that we're all kind of dancing around is, what does this do to Overwatch 2?
Yeah.
I'm of the opinion that I don't know that this really changes much of anything yet. You know what I mean? If we're to believe everything that they've told us, this has been in development for years now. I don't know that leaving now ruins any of the seeds that they've planted. I think some of the polish, I think this is probably a move that will probably see the game expedited quite a bit, probably to a slight detriment. But I think, if anything, that's my one thing that I take away from this move is that this game's probably coming out pretty soon-ish. And by soon, I mean maybe by the end of the year. But it might not be as polished as, old guard Blizzard might have had it. It might not be as polished as Jeff Kaplan might have wanted it to be, but obviously he's not here anymore. So I don't think this changes a whole lot, at least right now. I think moving on for the future, that's when the snowball starts to roll. That's when you start to see big picture changes with Overwatch and the way that they handle things. I hope, as much as it's very large shoes to fill, that the new lead game developer, designer, whatever you want to call him, can kind of come out and be the face of the community, kind of address things and talk about things, much in the same way that Jeff did. Won't speak on anybody's charisma or camera personality, but I think that always was that open line of dialogue, as much as it felt like it was really, I think, important to people, and obviously spawned so much content. Really, I think it was appreciated by the community. So hopefully that's continued, but we will see. It's not.
I mean, they picked like. I mean, the thing is like I mean, losing Jeff. I don't obviously know a lot about the old guard of Blizzard. Like I got into games very early, so I mean, but I know that Jeff was like super important to like how um it felt with like the old guard. Like I kind of remember when like Metzen and Morheim was leaving and all those people and how the
Yeah,
reaction was. I didn't necessarily feel it myself, but I was
sure.
just like, oh, this is a big deal. It feels like, and
Right.
like Jeff kind of is like the first time that I've been a part of losing part of that magic,
You feel
because
it
I
here?
kind of did. Yeah, I did. Yeah, losing
Yeah.
him is a big deal. However, I think that getting Aaron Keller, who I believe is also worked at Blizzard for like 19 years,
Mm,
I think they've probably picked the best option
Agreed.
to replace him.
sure.
And I don't like. I think Aaron Keller is very was also in his statement was um very apt in saying, I'm not here to fill Jeff's shoes because I can't, or not. Like it's going to be hard to do. Not that he
Yeah.
maybe couldn't, but like it's a very hard thing to do. So I think losing Jeff is, yeah, it's, we lost, like Yiska said, maybe the Guardian. We lost kind of a little bit of the magic, but I think we have probably the best replacement that we could get at the current time. So I'm slightly optimistic because I think Aaron Keller has like everyone's like, "Oh, Aaron Keller designed King's Row," which is like best map we have in Overwatch. So there is some, there is some positives coming in with Aaron Keller coming in, but I think
I feel it.
it still is a bit of a loss, I would say, that we're
Mm.
losing Jeff Kaplan.
Yeah, it's
Joe,
it's definitely an emotional blow for sure.
Joe, did you, when you saw this, were you scared for the reasons he left? Does that communicate anything to you implicitly? Do you have any fears what that might mean? What kind of a clash might have happened for him to jump off before he saw the baby
I
thing?
have to assume that this is probably, I don't think as many people leave without that kind of already being a fear for me. I think, if I had to guess, and this is speculating from everything that people have said about him, him being Jeff Kaplan, I would guess that he wanted to see this done enough, this being Overwatch 2 or whatever, sequel to Overwatch. I think he wanted to set it up for success as best he could, and then, move elsewhere and pursue other passions and projects. He doesn't strike me, again, from everything that everybody tells me. He doesn't strike me as the type of person to just up and leave after like a big, sit down, throw out, kind of brawl, with the brass at Activision or Blizzard. Obviously, I think that encroachment is definitely happening, and I think it's very real. But um, he never struck me. I think he's, if anything, obviously he departed with, the classic Winston line, see the world as it could be, not how as it is, or how the line and how it goes. Very idealistic. So I think that very much represents his vision and what he wants out of things. So I think he wanted to set this project up for as best a success as he could, but obviously he has to take care of himself and his dreams and goals. So yeah, I don't see too much fear. I think this again, we tend to forget that Kaplan also is the vice president of Blizzard.
Yes,
it's a title that just gets kind of thrown under the rug. We know him as Jeff from the Overwatch team, and lovable and goofy,
he's
and
actually Jeff from Blizzard Entertainment.
Yeah, he's a big deal to this company. So I think again, this is months down the road. These are new projects that aren't necessarily
for sure
talked about yet, that are changing, and it's going to take a little bit of time, but yeah, there's change coming for sure. This is, if you weren't aware of it now, or if you weren't aware of it then, you are now.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Right. Okay. I'm aware of the clock. Patch notes happened, honestly, as long as they haven't really impacted or are about to impact the active
Reinhardt's not
competition.
going to be play. Reinhardt's not playing anymore.
I
dude.
don't.
Armor reduced by
I think
50.
at this point, I'm not excited enough about those.
It
Unless you
sucks
have any-
because honestly, the meta we have right now, if you just remove Balzaria and the ability and teams want to play that, if you remove that, I think the meta's so freaking good right now.
Yeah.
Just you can play almost everything.
That's my problem,
There's
though.
quite a yeah,
What?
you've come full circle. You want just mirror watch.
Mirror
No,
versus
there's
mirror.
no circle. I want 7 heroes in the game. That's it.
Okay, so you just want League where it's this is the 20 champs that we're playing,
Yeah.
and then there's gonna be a random fucking Kassadin mid that we're gonna see at Worlds or some shit.
No, what I want is
No, he doesn't want that either.
I want dive only, and then we can talk about Zen and Ana. That's my flex. Genji Tracer dive all day.
Anything more than that, if he sees a Soldier 76, lid's coming off.
Yeah.
Don't say that when
I'm
Felix
not.
is around.
I don't even mind that. But here's my problem. Do you retain any of the strategical choices in terms of heroes throughout the matches that we've seen this week?
Say that again.
Have you, in your mind, do you have a map of who played what, given the map in those situations, and can you draw a clear narrative from that for those teams?
I can for
Not
Chengdu versus
yet.
Shanghai. I can for that. No, for Chengdu Shanghai, I can definitely do that.
Yeah, I think there are games that you definitely can. Chengdu Shanghai, I think Glads feel very. I have a fledgling narrative for them. I think Seoul played very well into Philly's rush comp, but had some very key mistakes. There are matches that felt very strategically crystalline, if that makes sense. You could see the thought process and the adjustments. Houston Shock, for another example, obviously we'll get to that, but yeah, I would say that right now it's tough to really give a good tangible, with evidence supporting it, story about these teams and their style and whatnot. But I think as we progress, I think I think by the end of Melee, I could definitely pitch you on the strengths and weaknesses of each team and their style and how they want to play and how their tempo's going.
Mostly because it's very likely that the meta will solidify and we will have 2-3 comps depending on map type that will be played, not more.
Okay, 2-3 comps or different styles, just to be clear.
I mean, then I have to counter ask, are we talking about globally or just an A?
Well, that's
I'll say globally, yeah.
Well,
because I'm definitely measuring globally.
I mean, because I feel globally, I mean, APAC is playing a lot more of just the double bubble stuff, and NA has always been a region that's always probably going to play Rush if they have anything to say about it. It's usually just
double shield, Rush,
double shield, which is so. I mean, I think that's the other distinction is that if do you still want regional metas? Because if we, I mean, looking at these patch notes. I'm pretty sure, but do you want regional metas? Do you want regional metas as it's the same comp, but there's this one change, or do you want literally just there's a different composition entirely?
What I want is to basically, I want to see how the shark does against the bear, and not the ditto that keeps like morphing into all kinds of different dumb shit.
Yeah.
And there's no clear strategic delineation in there where I could go, okay, styles clashed here. When in reality, strategic decisions in the moment clashed. Because we're coin flipping so often and at the start of control points, it's almost deciding matches at this point. Because
control has always been a burger flip map.
Yeah, but like now it's like literally coin flips. Because think about it this way, right? You roll out on control. If you got the better comp, you have a really high chance to win that fight. The first fight on control decides like the map, like whoever wins that is like 62% likely to win the entire map, right? Just the first fight. Even if the team retreats, now they have positional advantage. And even if you roll out with the counter, at least they got the point. They have better positioning depending on the like. It's so I don't know. It's not satisfying to me at all. Yes, there is some like meta gaming related idea of like it's also more than rock paper scissors. It's realistically rock paper scissors, super glue, atomic bomb, like everything like that.
There's a whole lot of
for sure that's the case, and for sure there's skill in there. But like I don't know, it's not that. It's also not that interesting, and nothing really that sticks. Maybe that's something that I desire to have a story. Okay.
Sure.
And this is so gooey that my mind doesn't attach to whatever is happening there.
Do you think that's because it is actually gooey, or it just hasn't solidified, or it's just too new that we're adjusting. We're adjusting our lens on how to view it.
Everyone's doing everything, right? Like everyone's doing like. If you, I don't think we've ever seen as many different heroes played, as many frequent switches mid map.
True.
Like,
yeah.
It is basically currently we're playing almost the level of Overwatch, what Overwatch designers wanted this game to be, which is to switch based on compositional difficulties. Right.
Would you rather though? Like, would you rather though? Just okay. So you have the meta currently, or like if Orisa comes back into like into prominence, which Halt going on a 6-second cooldown, probably might make her pretty good.
Right.
Do you want to have like double shield meta just constantly in like NA or in APAC, like instead of the versatility? Because if there's always that time where like if a hero is just really good, like we're just seeing the mirror and nothing else, literally no changes.
Yeah, that's amazing. I want
you want mirrors, but I think correct me if I'm wrong.
I care about execution way more than I care about engineering.
Innovation?
Yeah.
Okay.
Innovation.
That's fair. All right. Fair enough.
That's why you don't like Chengdu. I see.
Yeah, that's where I probably flipped on that leniency. I like well done innovation rather than just like
of course,
perfectly executed.
6-pool gremlin.
What can I say?
Yeah, no, I want a macro game, And then I want the nice little the nice little micro, where the actual...
Look, man, I'm just trying to cannon rush, dude. Like, just come on.
If you can show me some crazy stuff with with a hero I've never seen.
I'm trying to play mono red, fucking get in there, get out.
Yes, very much so. I'm the guy sitting on top of the roof frame.
You don't fucking counter my mono red. Good, you lost. GG. It's over.
I'm striker on top of the door frame.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Like it never gets to. Okay. Everyone already hates me for that point as well, so I might as well lead into it, right? I hate the qualia of that moment, how it feels to watch these matches. It's not a dance. It's like a fucking paintball match, is what it is.
Yeah.
Like it's pure chaos, and in the end, Chengdu somehow wins. That's the.
Yeah, but they didn't play fucking. They played weird shit.
They played the most standard Overwatch they have ever played while looking this good.
Yeah.
That's fair.
But their standard is just
fucking picking double shield and shit.
Agreed.
Like, they know exactly what they're doing when they play this class.
Hey, you like their double shield, sir? We had a pretty lengthy.
Yeah, I liked it for 1 week, and then they were just bad at it. I don't know what happened.
True, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Chengdu still like you look at their control versus Shanghai, without going too in depth with it, but like it still looks like Chengdu, but it's just not the same.
Before we go, okay.
Okay.
Before you guys like muse off
no,
how
we need to go
great
to NA.
China is, remind me again, who of you guys in your pick'ems had Chengdu winning this match? Please remind
Everybody
me.
but me. Everybody but me. Everybody but me. It's everybody but me. God, please forsake me. Strike me down with heavenly fury.
I literally, Joe.
I'm a heretic.
I was talking with you, and I said,
I know.
I said I picked. I said I was like, I'm thinking about picking Shanghai, and you're like, come on, Kenobi, I need my boy with me because you picked Chengdu, and then I flip flopped, and then I didn't expect you to just fucking hit me with the "Long Live the King" scar, throw me off the side, and just switch yourself.
Yeah, I think it was after day one. I was real scared. I'm like, boy, I'm gonna fall straight down these pick'ems if I don't like shape up. And I was like, I don't feel confident in this in the slightest.
The problem is, Kenobi, we both were in a room hotboxing Dolphin Dandruff. Because if you actually look at our results, we're like, I think I'm 58 out of 70.
I'm definitely leading.
You're like
I'm
68.
So bad. Yeah.
But we got Chengdu right.
We got Chengdu,
all that matters.
That's all that matters.
In this moment anyway.
Yeah.
No, like, to give a little bit of transparency. At some point in this offseason, Chengdu was really bad. And then at other points in this offseason, they were clapping again, and that's led me to make the statement that the Chengdu zone is back. It's a little bit of a different zone. It's not that they
don't burger flip.
Yeah, they don't do it. They don't have the ups and downs necessarily based on their compositional like choices. It's more like legitimately how they play. Did my volume go down somehow?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bump it up.
Is this better, guys?
The chat will let us know, hopefully, but continue on with Chengdu.
I love what I'm seeing, to be honest. Like, I remember writing an article, which was basically, Chengdu, your task in this league is not necessarily to win, also, but to find yourself. Now, this team has a different identity about them. Yeah. This team has the task to win APAC, to get a tournament win or two, possibly in, and to go deep in the season playoffs. That's the quality of this roster this year. Now, the problem is, I think to some degree we will see the volatility of this roster in the same way that we saw it in week one. Because let's not forget, in the same week that they bashed Shanghai, they also have a game against the Valiant, and it wasn't dominant, guys. Like, Chinese stance can't tell me that was dominant.
They looked a bit shaky on King's Row. Definitely. I think the thing about this roster is like, I mean, obviously having a main tank, also having a main tank, like, it's not just like having a main tank, because they had A-Ting, he feeds alone, like that A-Ting. Having Gaga, who is genuinely an extremely good main tank on basically everything. Like, he played everything on against Shanghai, I think. Like, they played Orisa too. Good on it all. Like, everything he played, he's good at. Like, his Winston's extremely good. He knows the limits, I think, of every hero that he plays, because a lot of the times when they were playing like against Shanghai, like, Gaga goes in, he doesn't like feed at all. Like, I don't see him feed too often.
Nope.
And I think like the rest of the roster's gotten better. Leave looks like an MVP caliber player now with this roster around him. Like, last year he had moments where he looked good, but this, like, Leave now looks like Leave from like MY, I think, at the current. He looks very good. I think Jinmu has some good moments. Jimmy is an interesting one to me because like 3 players played Sombra on their team. And they all, like, Jinmu looks probably the worst at it, but I don't blame him.
I mean, historically, he's
Jinmu's just a bad solo player.
What you just said about Leaf, right, Kenobi?
Yeah.
You gotta let this man's old heart, like, it feels hope, right? Like, Joe can remember during the time when I was a big lover of whatever MY did for a while, right? We have had this owl pellets thing. I basically picked them wholesale.
He's cheesier than he lets on. He's trying to like straighten his tie and gentleman Yiska, but at his heart, he loves
the
a
thing
good
is,
innovation.
like, I'm just scared that this kid, like a little bit, it felt like he was one of those Scheinriese guys. He wasn't who are you bad, right? In that regard,
Yeah.
like he arrived in the Overwatch League. He didn't deliver to the level that we expected him to, based on the World Cup and based on the MY. But I think I can be convinced this season that this is the second coming of Leaf.
He has a team around him now. Like last season, he's playing with good pieces, but he's playing with also a coaching staff that I don't think knows how to use him. Like I think a lot of the reason why Leaf probably went to Chengdu was to play with Ray, and Ray isn't there anymore. Ray wasn't there anymore. He's getting coached by Dokebi.
Yeah.
And then now he has Ray, he has Creed from MY, he has Yaoshi, who's also a very good coach. This coaching staff is actually probably I realistically think it's probably one of the better coaching staffs in APAC, just in general. I think Leave. I always thought of Leave as the equivalent of Uzi from League, and that's who I would prop him up to as this guy is a generational talent who, when given the chance, when given a team around him, you can make something happen.
I don't feel it. I would say that is more Jinmu than Leaf. I feel like if you're talking about generational talents, about someone that's Uzi-esque, that's Jinmu to me. Like this kid is just just like the Lego blocks he's built from are
Yeah. I mean, so I don't disagree that Jinmu's not very talented, but to me it's just the whole aura of Uzi I think fits into Leave, because I think Leave just in general has that aura of the best Chinese DPS ever.
Agreed.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
think Leave has that pedigree.
Nuts.
Yeah.
Leave has the pedigree. Jinmu has the I'm gonna roll at you with Vayne.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Jinmu reminds me of Jackie Love, right? Where Jackie Love is just this super highly aggressive DPS that will just fucking can 1v9 a team and is going to flash Xayah W score in game 5 of IG versus KT and just win the game for you.
Yeah.
That's just how I view Jinmu.
Honestly, so, peak Jinmu, there are very few players in the Overwatch League that have ever peaked as high as Jinmu has.
Yeah. I mean, his fair is
you saw it on Control. A lot of teams, you look at Seoul versus Philly, you look at Glads versus Dallas. A lot of teams are dabbling with certain control maps and peppering in Pharah. Chengdu plays Pharah completely differently. They play it like it's a dive.
Yeah.
He goes in. They're not kind of spacing out. They're not giving up first fight. They're not trying to play for goes. They're just in.
Yeah.
He's playing it like a tracer, which is completely different.
Yeah, he's shotgunning it. Yeah.
He's a different breed, and it's not the only hero that he can do that on. However, he can get a little ahead of himself, let's say, a little optimistic, We like to talk about him as being, the savant who sees these tiny percentage windows where if he, does everything right, he can land it all. But those percentages are not always necessarily in his favor. So sometimes he can look a little rougher on the edges.
Okay, so just to get a little bit along.
Yeah.
Yes, Chengdu was very good, but
it's week 1.
Shanghai wasn't really convincing, were they? That wasn't the Shanghai that we knew.
Up.
Right?
Am I wrong?
No. They looked pretty bad. I think with Shanghai, I was reviewing the game. They looked fucking lost. That Eichenwald where they just rammed their head into a brick wall for 4 minutes and just continuously just sat there getting naded, getting flashed, just trying to wrap around that high ground and just never just saying, okay, we can just go to point because that's where we should probably go as a rush team. It felt like they didn't know what to do. They were so scared of Gaga, who was literally just standing there and just cleaving them down. And then Monk, who is also just, I think Monk hit every nade that they every fight.
Yeah,
that they
Void
took,
was just nowhere to be found. I think his bombs were lacking.
He had a bomb of hope at the very end where he just chucks it up into the air.
Just threw it in. Hopefully he gets something, maybe. Who knows? The Reaper pick from Fleta was kind of all over the place. They didn't have a good way to break through that main choke, and it didn't seem like they were very well versed on Eichenwald in general. Yeah. It was the same play every time. It was such a frustrating game of Overwatch to watch.
I think Sideshow actually had a good point because I was watching him review it, and Sideshow had a good point that like the Reaper pick felt like it was like a ranked pick where it's just like Reaper counter Monkey, Meek pick Reaper, we win. Like that's kind of what it felt like to me.
Kinda.
Because it's like, what else are you picking Reaper for in that composition? It's
It definitely synergizes well.
it synergizes, but
like,
where's Mei? Like, if you have Mei in that comp, like you're also Fleta. Fleta can play Mei, right?
Yeah,
like
for sure.
we're not disagreeing. So like, why don't you just play that? You also can, you can also manipulate the terrain in your favor, so you can just literally just walk onto point whenever you want instead of having to take this high ground in this enclosed area. I think that would have been a better option than just the Reaper, which was just like, go.
Yeah, I don't know why they were so concerned about like a Torb holding the right side if you're stage, on the attacker's side, and you're like hyper concerned about this Torb and his turret like guarding the right side. I would have loved to see what that would have looked like with the Mei kind of walling themselves out, rotating around to the high ground, pushing point, using that little house on Eichenwald A as cover, and just trying to juggle the point and drawing them in off of their position. I think that would have definitely had a better chance of success rather than just doing the same play over and over and thinking it was going to be different. It was just a frustrating game. I don't think particularly Shanghai looked good. I don't think that's a normal match for them. If I had to guess, I don't think they just get banged out 3-0 by Chengdu 9 times out of 10. So I'm definitely more interested to see what their week 3 looks like after an added week of practice. So I don't think Shanghai stocks should be sold, en masse, but yeah,
they did be charged too. So I mean, it's not.
I mean, it's charged. Mike Ailey's allergic to the high ground. Rio, God bless his souls. On the high ground and Inting.
Someone hug Choice one, dude. Just someone hug him.
I have a piece in my notes that I'm like, maybe there's a red lantern being passed down. Maybe we found the next one. Maybe the next captain has been addressed because this kid looks fantastic, but is probably on one of the worst APAC teams we're gonna see.
The thing is, it shouldn't be like he still has Krong on his team and stuff like that. It shouldn't be that bad.
Every time I look at Mike Ailey, I'm just like, that could have been Dia. Like, oh my, it's so sad.
Yep. And I'm not sure if that's necessarily the problem, but yeah.
I mean, it obviously wouldn't have helped, but I'm not impressed by Mike Ailey.
No, I don't get their coaching. I'm gonna be honest with you, like
I think Dia, Dia at least like I don't want to say like has a brain, but like I don't know. I felt like Mike Ailey is very much like a hit scan like mechanics god, but like the coaching needs to be there for this player because if not, like he's gonna do like what Joe said, just doesn't go on high ground when you're playing hit scan. Like you need to be, especially if you're gonna playing Ashe. Like Ashe is on hit scan, probably the best up there. Like
it's not. It's like I can warrant maybe playing low ground if there was like a plan in place, or if there was something that you were aiming to do, or if like, okay, maybe you're evaluating Coach Gun as a disengage tool and you want to push the engage away. Something. Nah, he's pushing flanks by himself, trying to dynamite on off angles and just getting dove and coaching away. And it's just like, Sun Tzu figured out, high ground was pretty important in like the Dark Ages. I don't know exactly what the disconnect is here, but maybe I don't get it. They're another frustrating team. I don't think they particularly played well, but again, we'll see.
Yeah,
agreed.
Yeah, the interesting thing is that it almost looked like while we thought there was parity in relative parity in APAC, not that sure. Like if Charge actually is legitimately this bad, if Spark doesn't show up, suddenly you have the clear bottom 3 teams. Then you have like a mid-tier, which we can argue about, but I feel like... Okay, let's talk about this then.
Okay.
What was your impression of Seoul? Because...
Okay, I have a spicy one, I think.
They needed my man's Prophet to literally deadlift the map in order to have a chance.
Which one was it? Do you remember?
I actually don't know. No, I didn't look it up. And it was a fat one. I think 116% deadlift. Yeah. So we're deep in the average zone once again, ladies and gentlemen. We're in the zone where one man, by the sheer power of will and like, has put a spell on the Overwatch League, where he's convinced everyone that a team that had negative win rates in season 3 has minorly upgraded positions and would have not made a single tournament but due to COVID consistency plans, were invited into tournaments where they looked good twice, which is basically like the saving grace for their season last season, which is not a guarantee this season. Mm-hmm. So now, how do we feel about Seoul?
Kenobi, you go first, because I think I'm the odd man out here.
Well, I mean, how to feel? The thing is about Seoul is that whenever I watch that team, I'm like, okay, there's things that I like about them and things that I think can like bring them forward. And like in playoffs, it's very hard for me to bet against the best player in the world, I would say at the current moment. I think they're very much a team that is just, they are a team that does not give a fuck. I think I don't want to say give a fuck because obviously you care about getting it, but they remind me very much of like a team.
Don't say that. Don't say. We tried that once and then we suddenly had Arnold on the show.
Yeah, I mean obviously they care, but like I think like they switch gears when they get to playoffs.
Yeah.
And like regular season's just like a avenue to get to playoffs. If they like, as long as they get to playoffs, that's fine. That's what they care about. They like getting to playoffs. Like winning APAC obviously is very good, and like, but I don't think like they are the same team in regular season that they are when they go to playoffs. Which I think has always been, which is like Seoul's MO from last year too, where it's like when they go to playoffs, like I was talking with people who are like, oh, Seoul's like underrated, yada yada yada, or not underrated. Seoul's overrated. They're not good. And I said this team legit has the best player in the world. They are like every time, even London, like when they were on London, it was playoffs. That's when they were because I don't think they even make they didn't make stage 3, right? Like playoffs at all, or stage 4?
Think so.
I don't remember.
Yeah,
no, they did not. They didn't make stage 1. They got or they won, or they didn't win stage 2, but I think they made stage 2 playoffs and they didn't make stage 3.
They are a playoff team. That is how that is the MO of this team. It'll always be the MO of this team until something like drastically changes, and I will evaluate them when they get to playoffs because that's probably the best version of Seoul. Seoul right now, I think, is not like if I was like, gun to my head, someone is telling me like, do you think they're gonna win? I'm like, no. Based on what I've seen,
do they have a shot though?
They have a shot though. Boy, do they! And a shot feels like all that they need. Like if they any type of percentage that they can get to playoffs, that's it. Like they're totally fine to win.
Look, the problem for Seoul is the following: they are, in my mind, they shouldn't be scared of dropping below 4th in APAC.
Yeah.
But they're also not likely to get ahead of the rest. And we will talk about another team that will be a top 3 team in APAC.
That we haven't seen yet.
That we haven't seen that when we talk about the other matches.
Yeah.
But Mount Olympus in APAC is sort of like packed at the moment. And you got to find ways to get these wins to qualify for these tournaments where you can then pop off. Yes, if Seoul makes it into a tournament, they're likely to also get a bonus win there. You got to get there first, though. And I haven't looked specifically at their schedule. Maybe they are lucky and like they get Spark, Charge, and Valiant in like one stage or whatever, and they can get it through that. Then, I mean, towards season playoffs, to be fair, they also just got a big play-ins, which is possible for them. But yeah, I don't like why this team shouldn't have to count on their only ability to like clutch it out when it matters a lot. Like they need the consistency. They need to rise the tide. I get that you can make waves. You need to rise your tide. And I also understand, like, Tuyu is a player like that to me.
Yeah.
I have no problem with Tuyu. I think he's actually one of the revelations that Seoul has produced in the last couple of seasons.
I really like him.
Creative is still a big question mark to me.
I agree.
Like, the tank line is still, like, mysteriously shuffled together at times. I don't think we can constitute a trend right now, but I also think, honestly, like, for a season start, Gesture looked better than he usually does at a season start. So that was encouraging.
Yes, I think there's a reason for that, but continue.
I mean, now you got to say the reason.
Yeah, what's the reason?
I mean, I'm gonna have to paint a picture. So
Oh
if
my
you've got
God.
more points to make,
Okay, I'm sending the DM and already apologize. Let's go. What's he doing?
So this is only positive things. I'm actually quite high on Seoul after their game versus Philly. Yes, they lost 3-1. Off of their first 2 maps alone, I am seeing some clear method to this madness. I don't see the team that clutches it out. Yes, they end up clutching it out, but I think their control specifically was very tailored versus their rush style. I think they played extremely well on Blizzard World, specifically A. I think their last point was a little rough around the edges. But in general, I think even on like round 2 of Blizzard World, seeing how they're adapting to like this weird like Ryan Orisa style that Philly's kind of throwing at them. Again, talking about styles, I think Philly is going to be the most Western APAC team, just like off of just one game. I think it's a fair assumption. Just off of those games, I'm seeing a lot that is a vote of confidence. However, Kenobi has enlightened me on a new phrase that I'm now abusing. I think Brother Animo is back. He's doing the dang thing, you know, channel and only wish. Couple mistakes here and there that I wish we could tighten up a little bit, but I think that's easy to fix.
You should have told me that I need to bring the helmet again. Guys, come on.
It was not good. However, I'm very high on Soul, just like I am on Molly. As we progress throughout the season, I think this team will find its consistency. Possible. Much to the same degree one of Prophet's former team does. And I think this team is built quite similarly. So let's go down. Let's take a trip down memory lane, shall we? Let's go to Apex. Can't have a tactical approach without Apex, of course. Yeah. Quickly, obviously, as time is of the essence. GC Busan. Remember this old team, Yiska?
For sure.
Remember this whole team? It was Prophet's whole team. Oh, weirdly enough, it's Jester's whole team. So there's 2 pieces right out the way, right?
Yeah.
At the time when they were as dominant as they were, they had a pretty strong flex tank, yeah?
Yeah.
Kind of similar to you, yeah?
Yeah.
They also had a pretty strong caller at
Do I need to sing again? Just let me know if I need to make a song about you as well. Down the line.
That I don't know. We'll have to see. That was when he that's when Hureg.
Yeah.
That's when we all went into the Overwatch League. Yeah? So I don't think it's that far just yet. This is a team that I think this Seoul 2021 team is built with some echoes of GC Busan. I think they have a strong main support not a strong main support, but a strong voice at main support. I think they have a fairly decent flex support. I'm still not big on creative, much in the same way that I wasn't necessarily high on Hagopyeon. The big difference is that they don't have the talisman, but they do have fits, which I would say is an upgrade. But I think in general, the feeling that this is kind of more of a core kind of passive DPS, if you kind of want to call it that, somebody who's more apt at zoning, somebody who's a little bit more focused on Sombra, as Seoul has shown. I think this Seoul roster is built like an old GC Busan, and I'm kind of here for it. If they can continue to be as adaptable on the fly as I saw in that Philly match, we'll have to see coming into week 3. Give them another week of practice. Their schedule is not easy by any means. We'll get to New York, but I like what I'm seeing. I am digging what I am seeing.
I understand your metaphor because Animo is Nuss and Sebiolbi is Hurek. It fits perfectly.
I forgot Sebiolbi's on that team. Jesus.
Yeah. So that they're coaches. No, Kenobi, what is your take on Seoul? What did you like anything? Do you think this team will come together?
Oh, I mean, I think that I do like you. I think actually like watching, I think they were, did Seoul play in, the next cup?
Yeah.
Like that. I remember, I actually really liking Tuyu when I saw them there. And I think Tuyu is kind of like continued to be very good. I think you're right that they're like one of the revelations that's come from Genji. I really, again, I think it's a team that is, I think they shouldn't have a problem making top 4. I really don't think that they should have. Like, I think it's easy enough for them to do so, and then they can go to playoffs and then become Seoul in playoffs, which is their like ultimate transformation, where the team just becomes better than they are currently.
Remember last May?
Yeah, last May playoffs of last.
They didn't win, but
they got
damn good 3 maps.
Yep. I mean, so I think that the whole point for this team is to like I think wait until like bide their time to get like you can't like obviously like charge 3-2, not ideal. Or wait, did they 3-0 charge or did they 3-2? Can't remember.
They 3-0 charge.
Chat.
Yeah, they 3-0.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's like 3-0 charge. You need those types of matches where it's like you need to
Yep.
just like take the map differential.
You got
They're
it.
gonna play Valiant in like week
Yep.
3, I'm pretty sure as well. So
Yep.
just 3-0
That's
that
free.
one.
Yeah.
Like get those free wins and then just get to playoffs. That's how this team wins. I think the team is
Yeah.
good enough in playoffs as well.
Agreed.
Like once they get there, I think they can probably beat a lot. Like on any given day, it would be likely for me to be like, if you give me like a time machine and be like, Seoul got into playoffs and then they won May Melee, I'd be like, okay, that sounds like reasonable to me. I'm not very shocked. I'm not really like shocked at that because they have the best player in the world. They have some very good pieces. They do have brother Animo, but I mean, hopefully that
There was one
you know,
res, man. It was tragic. Boy, howdy. Like it was an absolute botch. Like
yeah.
Carpe hits like a shot and then Animo just goes for a res and then Philly
Yeah.
just drops on him.
I
like a
don't. Their
fucking
support line is
hot
their weakest
potato.
part. I really think their support line is it.
Look,
So hopefully, like hopefully the meta going into playoffs, which I hope isn't this patch actually. I hope it's like I hope
I
they
don't think
do
it
the
is.
playoff patch.
I think they've
So-
announced that they're only going to be changing patches in the bye
Okay, good
weeks.
because I fucking hate playoff patch.
Yep.
Preach.
I think that if the like this meta doesn't necessarily tend to, this isn't like last year where the meta was very much you need to have like a fucking god at flex support or someone to like, or
Yeah.
like your mercy has to be very good to like we saw basically every team that was like at least in like contenders when that meta was because I think the meta was like well I mean even like in Owl like Violet was the fucking carry of the and I don't think Soul had that. So this is I think these metas that we have currently like the 3 comps like they're not very support reliant. You can still like throw from support obviously, but you don't need to be like Violet, you don't need to be like Jonak, you don't need to be this carry player from a support role, and I think that fits better for creative and Animo. And
Right.
then that lets like gesture to you, Prophet and Fitz kind of be the engine of the team, which they need to be for this team to be good.
Oh,
Right.
speaking of talking and hyping up Gesture, I think one of the big reasons why he's performing as well as he is, not only is because Winston is back in the fold, but because they're kind of patented him and Prophet's, dive style is very important to a lot of these maps, especially
sure.
on maps like Blizzard World, especially on maps.
Mm-hmm.
I think most escort maps, like barring maybe some of the hybrid ones, but that kind of very coordinated attack is something that they have built a career on and won titles on. And I think that's where you're seeing him kind of thrive. And I think that's why you're seeing him look as good as he is.
Okay. I'm mindful of time, so
Yeah.
I think it warrants like we can talk like 2 or 3 minutes about the team that, like, yes, we had a lot of like weird situations in terms of like the results that we saw. None of them confused me as much as Philadelphia Fusion going 2-0 this week. That was very unexpected to me.
That's just because you're plugged
No,
in.
you don't
You're in the
understand.
main.
You don't understand. They were
No, I don't.
legitimately so bad for a while. And then
Would
in the
know.
last week, and that's actually something that Christopher talked about in the interview that I did with him after the match, they turned it around last week. And yes, keep in mind, guys, like, improvement is never like a line. It's more like stagnation. Maybe you go down even a bit, and then you have a breakthrough and it suddenly jumps up. They had a jump up, my dude. They went possibly from the worst team in APAC to a top 2, top 3 team in APAC now.
I think we've got some holes. I think they've got some issues. Chat's already kind of touched on one regarding Tracer. I think that's why they're leaning on the rush style as heavily as they are on some of these maps. Especially Blizzard World kind of running around with Orisa, Hotba Orisa. That was kind of a wonky one. I thought Soul on their second round did a great job at trying to fight them at the pass and trying to stop them or attack them during the rotation. Up and around, kind of towards like the little Griffin ride. But regardless, Philly, they do look good. A lot of the pieces you assume would look good do look good. Rascal's Tracer isn't as strong as I would like, but that doesn't mean there aren't ways for them to kind of stick out stylistically and make practicing for them very hard. In that same way, you know what they're gonna run, especially on given maps. I think they might get abused in some ways. And I think Seoul did a really good job with that on control. With their fire comp was quite pleased with that, even though they lost. So I like what I'm seeing, but I before I give like a definitive take, I want to see what week 2 looks like. I'm really interested to see what New York and Spark have to show for this.
They play
Because
Chengdu too, Philly.
true. So that's I've seen people have like this vote of confidence in Philly, and I think with a smattering of Scrimbux, I don't see how Philly beats Chengdu, to be completely honest with you, if I'm going to go into predictions. But we'll get to that. I'll touch on that when we get there.
Do you have anything to add to that, Kenobi, or should we jump?
No, I think Philly's a team that I think I would say, based on everything that we heard, I'd say overperformed to most of our expectations. I don't think a lot of people had them beating Seoul. I can really realize. So, and I think that the pieces that they have currently on the 30-day contracts, because I believe all 3 of the players, like Toby, Hotba, and Rascal, are all 30 days. I believe they're serviceable. And once they get like Funny Astra there, I think the team gets like better. I would like to see them actually keep Rascal, like, because I think he's because I think that he's like a player that you kind of need, or I would want to have in like a scenario where like a whole year where metas like change and shift, and Rascal just can become like a carry for a team if in the right like scenario. So I think that, I mean, obviously, like having him, you have to pay him a hefty penny. So I don't know.
Yes,
if it's
for
worth
sure.
It.
It's also, I imagine, must be frustrating to play with Rascal, because I mean, that's not the same player that's in the scrims that's showing up on the live server. That's a big problem that Rascal has.
Yeah,
and
but yeah, that's my
keep in mind they also have Shockwave backlogged, and I understand that people don't think of him as like this, like a talent like Rascal. I think he can get there, and
That's
I think 9K can get him there.
Yeah.
So, like, if it was me, it's also just like the entire package this kid brings is too good to pass up.
I think Shockwave's really good. Yeah, I agree.
So,
y'all, can Toby get a contract, please? Can somebody pick this boy
yeah.
up? This kid's good.
It's actually good, yeah. Right.
He's got 30 days in the league. Somebody needs to bring him on board. Justice Pre, I'm looking at you.
Yo, put him back on Soul, bro.
Okay, guys.
With brother instead of brother Animo.
Okay. So, Joe, you wrote those notes, am I correct?
Most of them, some of them.
You wrote Scrimbux down astronomically?
I sure did. You are down astronomical, good sir.
Is Houston astronomically down against San Francisco Shock?
Do we need to talk about Atlanta?
Oh yeah, Atlanta.
Do we need to talk about Chengdu?
Do we need to talk about Florida?
Oh yeah.
How about the Glads? You want to talk about the Glads?
Okay, so to be fair, Glad's down.
We should probably talk about the Glads.
I didn't have much juice on how Florida was doing.
Fair. That was more attacking your power rankings.
Right.
But,
yeah, for sure. And yes, like upon seeing how Florida is performing, the problem is I just don't know where to place teams. And even if you gave me like a reset button right now, I still wouldn't know, because I don't know where Boston will land. I don't know how good Toronto actually is. That's what I meant. Like, okay, let's actually jump into this here. Sure. Even though I didn't necessarily plan to talk about them specifically. But do you still think, after what you've seen, that my 9th team, Toronto, could also be a top 3 team, depending on what kind of meta?
I mean,
hits?
Brother, they played. Who did they play? Let's see. Who did they play?
I mean, if we're gonna be honest, right? I agree. They played Vancouver, kind of a gimme,
and they also lost them. Well, they pity mapped Vancouver.
They did pity map Vancouver. Beast and Logics did come in, and so did Aztec, and it was kind of a mess. There were pieces that looked good, but overall, I think the cohesion was dropped. But if Atlanta is performing as well on paper as they were, I don't think it's too crazy to assume that Toronto could jump up given the right meta. However, I think they definitely lean one way, and it's not a crossroads, but like if you're looking at like the double bubble kind of like aggressive like scatter style versus like the death ball like rush, I think they're very much a double bubble like ball tracer Sombra. Like I don't want to see, and I get he played well. I think Hisu playing pretty deep in the pocket is going to be an issue for them moving forward. I'd like to see, and this is something I talked about a lot in the Discord, shout out to the watch party people. I want to see McCree's play more flanks. Keep teams honest. If people are learning this in contenders and finding success with it, I want to see that move or towards the Overwatch League. I'm not saying permanent flank, right? I want to see it just kind of peppered in.
It has to be a threat that a team has to.
Yeah.
You have to.
I mean, you can literally you can one shot the backline. Like it's actually so easy to just flank, right click, flank. Like Seeker's doing it in contenders. I don't know why we're not. It's something that's even being done in like collegiate. Like I was casting collegiate, and teams are flanking McCree and just like winning fights for free off of flash fans.
Let me juice this up a little bit because I talked to some people in APAC, and O2, CC, and T1 might actually mop the floor with all of APAC at the moment.
I think those teams are all very good. Like actually, I've watched a bit of Korea. I watched Team CC O2. Team CC unfortunately don't have No Hill anymore, which I think is actually a huge deal for that team. I think No Hill was a very pivotal part of Team CC's success, even last year, because the one time that No Hill actually wasn't like there to coach the team, they lost to Flag in grand finals. So I think that's a big deal. I think Innovation moving to a player coach sucks for me because I think that means that he's like one step out the door of like having to retire and being a coach, which I think is a fucking shame because I think if there's anyone who needs a tracer in it, like, dude, watching him versus who they played O2 in like I think their last game was
I haven't watched any.
Or someone, but like the dude legit is so fucking good at tracer. Like there's got to be a team out there that needs a Korean fucking tracer specialist.
Dallas.
Yeah, Dallas, sure. I mean, I said Dallas should sign Dia, but that's like a pipe dream.
Yeah, that's not happening, bud.
I mean, he does common Korean, and he does play tracer and long range hitscan. You need both of those things.
He also has no chance of getting a American visa.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, so unfortunately, that's. I mean, like, yeah, Dallas, I think would have been a perfect fit for him right now. Like, he can also play. He can't really play long range hitscan, so they still have that issue. But, yeah, I think CC's kind of this. I tangentialized a little. CC, they are very good. I think all their players are good. I think it's the same with like T1 and O2. I think they're all fucking cracked. I think they beat Valiant for sure. I think they probably beat Charge. I don't know if they beat everyone in APAC.
I'm getting real scared with Spark. I really don't see how this team fails, but I'm a little scared about them kind of just boshing this entire just embarrassment of riches. I'm gonna be real with you. I know that Yiska's high on them, but I look at the preseason versus New York and Charge, and I don't see Charge performing as well. So if New York has had like an exponential like growth week that we just haven't seen just yet, I'm a little concerned about them and how they really kind of get it together. I don't know. I think it feels like there's always teams and contenders that just like perform way higher.
None of the Chinese teams will beat the APAC though. I'll tell you that. Well, actually, no, that's not true. I think there are teams that could beat Valiant and maybe beat Guangzhou.
It's an issue because there are Chinese teams in Kenobi. Maybe you can correct me for this. They have like the right pieces, but they just don't come together, right? Like, I want T1W's coordination, but I want like the talent on BLG.
I want, That's
I want to like Voltron them together to make like one like Megazord to like challenge the Overwatch League, but that can't happen. So here we are. We're talking about anime on an Overwatch podcast.
Okay, so let's explore a little bit about the other storylines that were going on in NA because I mean, okay, yes,
just talk about Houston. You know you want to.
Just talk about
it. A lot of the Scrimbux didn't hit. I will tell you that team was very confident in their ability to
they look
win
confident.
matches.
Weeks
before that match happened, they knew they were on a good path. They knew why they were on a good path.
Yep. I
think. Like, you cannot underestimate the impact of the coaching staff towards the development of that. How Chengdu is currently turning out is nuts.
Yeah.
Like that.
Where did he play for?
Talent with Piggy.
Okay.
Yep. Piggy is nuts. My God. Like, I told you guys about Happy. I told you. this kid is insane. This is already like a ballot submission towards MVP title this season. We don't have that many games. Keep in mind, right?
I think there are players that have, I think, not solidified, but I think there are players like from week 1 that you could be like this person. Like I think Leave is another one of those players who is like you could say probably can get it. Like if continuing to be MVP, Happy I think did the same thing. Obviously there's like your mainstays like Prophet who probably has always had a shot like that. I think there are. I think Happy was absolutely fucking phenomenal.
Lights out, yeah.
And there was Shock could not find a way.
No, could not. Sure, I like the way that you phrased that. They could not find a way. I think there were ways.
They
just didn't actually do anything about it.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair,
he got to play a pretty open game. I will say.
To also be fair to Shock, I mean, the fucking iron mentality this team has. Genuinely, it is unreal to me that they came back to that series at all. Like I think it was because they were down 2-0, correct? And then they drew.
They drew Blizzard.
Or they okay?
They lost control. They drew Blizzard. They absolutely inted Dorado.
Yeah, they inted Dorado, and they were down 2-0. I mean, the fucking mental iron fortitude that this team has to come back from that, like essentially losing 3 maps. We'll call the draw a loss.
And Anubis looked like it was a loss.
Yeah,
you look at their defense and you look at Happy just peppering Violet.
Come back, they win control. They win control convincingly too. Like that was a convincing win against Houston on control. I thought it was over. And then they fucking full hold. Like they full held Houston on the first one, and then they got fuller held. I mean, to be like, I think it's probably one of the best Overwatch series I've ever seen. But like, I think both of these teams, like, I don't feel like anyone really lost. Like, I mean, obviously, like, in literal sense, like Shock lost, but Shock also proved that like they can still just be one of the best teams ever, like from any position on the map. It doesn't matter like if they're down 0-2, doesn't matter how deep in the pits they are. Like they also have this like really cool thing where like they win fights where it's like 6v5 or 5v6. Like they play so patiently and just like they have this innate ability to just like pull fights out of literally nowhere. But Houston, I've always been like a Houston like unsympathizer, I guess, because I really
anti-simp.
Anti-simp, yeah. But this I mean, I like everything about this roster. I like the coaching staff. I like the pieces that they got. I think Piggy was, I mean, back on when I remember watching him on LG Huya, like Piggy was probably one of the better parts of that roster. Just everything about it I think is fantastic for Houston, and I think they've solidified themselves probably as like one of the top 5 teams in NA, possibly top 3. Like they're good. I really like both of these teams, and I like that there's a team that can actually beat Shock and like can beat them in a way that's this close and make it competitive. Because I think there was there was somewhat of a I think also this early losing is good for Shock, because I think and good for the narratives of the league, because I think it shows that like the other teams, they have upgraded. Like this isn't just a free Shock win this year for a 3-peat. They're gonna have to fucking fight super fucking hard. And they also can do it because they did do it in this matchup. Like this is a team that still, you fuck around and find out, they will come back and reverse sweep you.
Yes. Yeah. And it like that essence has always been with a Shock, right? Like they are just like once you poke them too much, like they just go overdrive mode. But the fact, like, let's be really clear about this Houston. Like, I understand you fans have like Houston PTSD.
True.
This is not the same coaching staff. This is not the same player base. This is not even the same ownership. And this is not a team that loses game 5s to the same degree that this org used to do. It's like 8-22 that they are in game 5s. Really bad. They just won in map 5 against okay, whatever, it's not map 5.
Well, they kind of didn't. They won a map 6.
Yeah, I know. But
I know what you mean. They lost the clutch game. Game. They were, I mean, I think they still their record in like clutch game deciding wins, because they probably had a bunch of those. It's probably just still really low.
Yeah, there was a couple in there, I remember when doing the count. But yeah, like generally speaking, this is just a very new look, and really the only like parts in there that remind of season 1, season 2 Outlaws is Jake, right? Yeah. Everyone else is gone. So, I don't know where this team can go. They look out of the Scrimbux teams, they look, of course, like by far the best. Like if you take like the Scrimbux were very clear about Glads won, then Atlanta probably better than Houston, and then Houston.
Jeez.
Wow. Atlanta better. Oh, Atlanta's.
That's rough.
I got my Scrimbox got hard fucked by Atlanta.
I mean, I think Sephi was really public about their scrim win rate of like 86% or something, and they're not not queuing into scrubs, right?
Sure, of course not. And I get that, but again, like I'm just to put it out there, I don't like. I hear that from Sephi. Okay, that's great. I hear that from you. Okay, that's great. I hear that from other people. Like this has to line up to something at some point. So there is a sense of truth to it, but I did not see that. In week 1.
Now, what I also didn't see.
What's that?
Kai play the entire match, and I don't understand.
Agreed.
I don't understand.
I think that's a person who, if you're gonna sign that guy, like you need to play him every single chance you can get. And like I think they were swapping him out for Edison. Right?
Yes.
And Edison's fine. Edison is not Kai. Kai is like a I kind of think he's probably like one of these generational talents that's coming out of like NA, where it's like he's
or the West
cracked. He is cracked, and you like if you're gonna play Edison, like you have to have a very decent reason too, and I think there's probably a reason with the coaching staff. But for me, who's like not watched like or who doesn't have like as much like juice as everyone else, it feels like Edison's there just because I don't know I can't figure out the reason as to like why Edison would be there over Kai.
So
now there obviously is one. Like there is one. I just personally from just watching their games, I don't know when Kai's in there, it looks a lot better. But when Edison's in there, it's not as good. So what is the kind of give and take there?
To me, it looked like they wanted to get reps in for Edison. I don't know if you do that in your opener. I'm not a big fan of that.
And they look good in their opener.
Also, like if you actually care about Scrimbux and the scrim win rate that you have, from my information, Kai joining that team was transformational towards the scrim win rate. So if you are someone that values that is probably like your clear tell. Unless you have other like behind the scenes ideas in mind or like things that you need to work against, then this is like the guy that you got to play, right? Like
agree.
I don't think I don't think that's the thing. My takeaway is I'm persisting in my folly. This is not a team that played as bad as they did, or like that delivered a performance that is characteristic of that team. I think we will see a bounce back from them. And I also think we will see the same thing for Glads.
Who do they play in week 2? They don't play in week 2.
I'm willing on one. I'm not necessarily on both. You got to pick one.
Glad's okay. I'm so sad because I really like Muse, and it's not his fault either. Like I feel like a lot of it isn't.
I think so.
I mean, some of it might be, but it might be a bit of Brother Muse. But I'm so sad because
there's a couple Brother Muse moments.
I really, really liked like coming out of Contenders.
They have a lot of ground to make up if they want.
I thought he was like he was like gonna come in. He was gonna be one of these like really good Korean main tanks, and then it just does not look like I don't know what happened. But I'm very, very sad because I was so high. I mean, me and Joe, I'm pretty sure me and you were both like super high on Muse.
Oh yeah, like, I remember shouting him out like after
Gauntlet.
After
like
Gauntlet
after the first Gauntlet.
Like, this is a potential here. We've got one, boys. I think there is something there. I'm not necessarily willing to just give up on him after 1 week. But Glads in general have a lot of ground to make up. They're doing a lot, but not doing anything very good.
It's hard, it will be hard.
It is difficult. It is difficult to kind of find a way, but I like Atlanta. I think after their match versus Florida, I saw kind of their rush glimpse, and to kind of retouch on like Houston for a second, I think they are just like the de facto best rush team in the world right now. I think if you try to mirror them on rush, you're going to lose. I think you saw that on Blizzard World versus the Shock. I think their defense is completely different. I think attacking their rotations is just incredibly smart, and I don't see very many teams doing that. Houston is the one team that I'm seeing consistently being able to pressure people on rotations during that map. I digress. I look at Atlanta. I see them pressure accurately Florida's Sigma style, where they're playing Eichenwald and Sigma splitting away from his team, and they immediately identify that and they split. They pressure Gargoyle. They take him out. That's like an to me, that shows that you have like a good, overall macro strategy of how to play this composition. I want to see Kai. I don't think it's necessarily no Kai, no win, but I think Kai gives you that style that they're known to be good at. When did we see Atlanta perform last year? It was on Double Shield. It's up on these Deathball compositions. I think as a franchise right now, they want Deathball. I don't know exactly why, but they seem to be very comfortable in very tight Deathball-y compositions that want to have very clear goes, right? If we're kind of bringing up WoW terms, very clear engage tools, very clear kind of team fight win archetypes, if you will. I think Atlanta, if we want to kind of ride the no Kai, no win, that's fine. But I think it's more a style difference that he brings to this team that allows them to be a very dominant rush team. And I think if the Scrimbux are to be believed, if we're to go back and look at Suffy's kind of coaching decisions, I believe it was 2019 stage 4, where they're like, you know what, we're not going to practice for the playoff, or we're not going to practice for the patch right now. We're going to practice for the playoffs. Look what happened. They come in, they beat Shock, or they at least take Shock close. Obviously, you can argue that Shock maybe should have won that map, but there's something to this team, and I'm willing to kind of give credence to what Yiska's saying with, Edison maybe getting some reps. That's something that Seffi's done in the past, right? He's a big picture thinker, right? He has an eye for talent. He's a big picture guy. You can't take that away from him, regardless. Yeah. He's done it in the past, and it's been successful. So I'm willing to give them the break here. Glads, they may just go 0-4.
Dude, it's so okay. It's so wild to me when I look at that like roster and just think about them going 0-4. Like I can't. No. It's just unfathomable to me, because everyone, like, this team was super high in the Scrimbux, and I think we also, like, with Glads, I think this iteration of Glads, this is like the last shot that they, because this has been like 3 years running now where we're very high on Glads, that like they haven't made any like they made big changes, but like the roster and like the organs like been relatively the same. This is the last chance, I think, for them, because if it doesn't work out now, when you have this roster, when you have these players, something's got to change in like the fourth season, I feel like.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, Glads losing to London would just be a momentum killer for this.
I mean, it's crazy.
It's a tilter if they lose to London.
That's the definition of a tilter. They're out of the tournament. They got a month until their next game, because they don't have matches the last week. Then they miss the tournament. Then they are on the break, and then they play the Titans as their first game back. That's a heavy tilter. Yes, you can untilt in 4 weeks, but Jesus, like that should be.
Break yourself back from a loss to London like that.
Yeah. I mean, after that, you just gotta come out and swing at everyone, basically.
I think there's a lot of expectations that they put on themselves regarding those Scrimbucks. I think they know how good they can be. Yeah. I think Kevster on ping doesn't do them any favors. I think their wide strategy pool that they're kind of throwing at the wind, that's not doing them any favors. Then you have London coming in with a break on week 1, coming in week 2 fresh. They don't have any, pressure on them. They're the underdog team. They can perform. We've seen them perform on Rush in the preseason. Again, that's preseason, but this is a team that is going to be strong at Rush. You know who they scrim? British Hurricane, and all the rest of the European teams that are good at Rush. I think this team has an outside chance to upset Game 5. You see them play Rush and only Rush. We have to look at the maps though, but we'll get to that in predictions. I don't mean to take a
also.
But
do we know why we see? Okay, I don't know if either of you guys know. Do you know why we see Skewed instead of Shu a lot of the time?
I don't know,
because I don't know. Because Shu, I mean, based off of last season, like. Dude should be starting.
Is it skewed over Shu, or is it skewed over Moth?
Oh, it might be skewed over.
I think it might be over Moth. I think that may be a big thing. But
I was second guessing. Like I'm like, oh my god, is he just Mandela affected me so hard?
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. No, so never mind. My question.
Yeah.
I'm happy to see him. I think it's smart to have a rookie, get in and get some reps in, but. It's not. I don't think it's his fault. I think it's just like they need to file down and kind of pick some things and stop doing so much. I think Dallas caught them off guard, and Shock is just good. So
there needs to be a little bit less brother Muse.
Okay, let's get into before we get
Preds.
into predictions, because we got it soon.
Yes.
But I think there's one team that we still have yet to talk about that will be
Dallas?
very important to the outcome of this season at this point. And
Dallas?
honestly, in my estimation, they have overperformed my expectations for week 1, namely by upsetting the Glads. In my Scrimbux world. And also, honestly, playing Houston pretty close. So how did you feel about the performance that Dallas showed this weekend, Kenobi?
I think it's an overperformance because I remember watching them at Next Cup and I'm like, this team is fucking. It doesn't look good.
But they looked better in the second week after, right?
They did. They beat Seoul too. I think also what really helps them is this meta is so much better. Like, I mean, obviously they are missing Erkey. Erkey on this team, I actually think they probably have a chance of if they played the same way, I think they have a chance of beating Houston actually and going 2-0. I think but the issue with when they went like Next and why it looks so bad is Fearless had to play ball. Fearless is not very good at ball. They don't have to play ball anymore. They can play Rush. They can put Fearless on Winston. They can which is his best hero. They can play Reinhardt, his other best hero, and they can keep him away from ball because I think that composition was really prevalent during that meta, and now they don't have to really play it that much anymore because they're not also in APAC where that's seen a lot more. For me, a huge performance, but I think that there's also like a lot of good highlights from this team. I think Sparkle's Tracer doesn't look terrible, which I think there was some worries about. I think everyone who said like Sparkle is someone who can just like pick up a hero very quickly and learn it and be very good at it. I think they're kind of cashing in right now on the idea that Sparkle can be a pretty decent tracer for this team. Now, would I rather see like innovation in this team so who can just literally just only play tracer and just like smack people in the face in tracer 1v1s? Yes, I would much rather see that. But for what they have right now, I think this is probably about the best I would have expected from Dallas going forward. And it's also like it's not like they just like lucked out and they're they're just DPS. They look like the coaching I think has also been like very good. I think they've had some good set plays, especially against Gladiators. They look like if they can continue to play at this level, going into like top 4, I don't want to see them in playoffs. Genuinely, I would be very scared to see it because it feels like on any day they feel very much Seoul-esque, where it's like if they can get to a meta and to a point where it's like it fits them, they can probably run the gambit in a playoff.
I think if we're looking big picture, I agree. And that was definitely something that I felt with this team, especially with Erkey. Without them and kind of funneling that back down into May specifically, I'll start with positives. I think that Rush at this point can be poked as like a very creative coach, I'll say. Somebody who is a strong coach historically, has a proven track record, but somebody who's successful at thinking outside of the box. You look at Outland Mystic, you look at their, kind of not innovation, but their very particular compositions in their positioning regarding Orisa. And I think if memory serves me, they threw in some Torb as well. And obviously the May Doomfist Sombra stuff as well. And I think that's what you really saw kind of shine out with this team is they found a way to kind of like on like moments notice, not a ton of time to prepare for Erkey not being in. Again, I don't think you're practicing without him. And I could be wrong, but I really give them a lot of credit for finding their way into the meta, but I think they're going to be incredibly map dependent right now. I think they're very telegraphed in exactly what they want to do because Erkey isn't here. Yes, are they performing well? Are they executing 100%? But I think if you have a team like Gladiators that actually steps up and allows Kevster, who is on ping, to be fair, to actually be a threat to Sparkle, I think you're going to start to see a big difference happen. I think you're going to see this team really kind of shake in their boots, especially on maps that are going to have them force rush, where they're having to play Doomfist and somebody can answer Sombra and really kind of throw a thorn in one of their big kind of carry threats. I think if you shut down Sparkle in any kind of facet, this team really starts to slow down. And I think as we progress through May, I can't look ahead to June just yet, and I can't, predict on who they might be getting. Obviously, Tasmo, I think, has been out there talking about like they are actively trialing people, so they'll get it when they get it. But it's good so far, and you have to give them credit there.
The problem here is the talent pool they can choose from is mega limited.
Sure.
So, do you bring in an American just because you don't need a visa? That's hard. We already hear that it's hard for Logics to make that work in Toronto, right?
Yep.
It's not easy. Do you put someone on ping and play from Korea or whatever? Well, that's also very hard. And that worked for some people. Playing Tracer on ping is not like playing Healbot Anna on ping.
I agree.
Yeah.
That's very different, right? So what's a Dallas ought to do? They will almost necessarily either approach a team and get a bench player from them.
I think that's the likely result.
Another thing that's possible is that they approach someone that had a visa, which sort of like, so
does that help people get a visa?
Yeah, it makes it a little bit quicker from my understanding in terms of like, you can skip a couple of steps if you've had pre-applied already there.
Okay.
Now, that doesn't help that much as it sounds like. Like, who are you going to get? Libero? Like, it's...
That doesn't help you.
That doesn't help you, right? So
you need a hit scan. Like,
as much as I want to
you need a hard hit
that's
scan.
what you want.
I mean...
Which is why I said Dia, because he's not gonna... not, like, I mean, my idea thinks like mostly a meme, but like realistic, like genuinely, like if there was a way to like, you know, shed the necessity of like getting a visa, I think you need a player like Dia who can cover the Tracer because it's just nice to have that, and also have that long range hit scan, because there are players like that exist. It's just that I don't know how you get them in the middle of the season right now with all the visa issues. I think you like can, like, it's possible, but it's just going to be very difficult. And I think Yiska's right, where they're probably just going to get someone from like a bench, like someone who's not necessarily needed for their team, and just take them.
There's a few people who I'm looking at that I'm like, I don't know if they'd let them go, but I kind of really want to see it.
Like from like
give me some.
Korea.
I look at I think it has to be somebody with an active NA visa, or at least somebody who has a visa in the past. So these are my three, right? I think I'll start from the least likely to the most likely, right?
Okay.
I would love, and I don't think they'll let him go, I would love to see Glister on fuel.
Ooh.
That's kind of spicy.
I mean, that's instantly like a love story.
That.
Yeah, I kind of like that. Yeah.
I don't think they're letting him go. I think they know what they have.
Yeah.
Obviously, he didn't perform this week, but rest assured, you remember him on London last season. The bright spot. I think he's going to continue to be a bright spot. So I don't think that's going to happen. My next one is probably Nene. Obviously, people have mentioned that he's kind of out of playing, but he does have a visa.
Yeah.
If there's an outside chance, I think he might be the other one. But my most likely, if I'm gonna put some money on the criteria, you had to have had a visa before. You have to have a visa now, and you're probably a bench player. I'm looking at Jerry. Weirdly,
dude, I was thinking Jerry too. Dude,
I don't hate it.
I'll straight up tell you it's not good enough. It's not good enough.
I don't think it's
not good enough, but it's something.
Someone said Stitch in chat, and I'm just like,
you know, if I'm gonna be real with you,
okay. If we're saying Jerry's not good enough, then Stitch is definitely.
Yeah, I'm 37.
Yeah, it's not. No, I don't think Boston can afford to let him go.
No.
If Soon was still on the team, then maybe. But I think if I had to guess, I don't hate the Stitch shout, to be fair. But just from the active NA pool right now, yeah, I think Jerry might be the best bet. And I agree, it's not good enough to hang for titles, but at least gives you a way into playing Rush, right? Like, you need a McCree right now if you want to play that. And there are some maps that force you to play it. If you're not playing it, you better be, hotboxing that dolphin dandruff, because I don't know what you're going to play.
Yeah.
They're going to have to be stuck on Hanzo. They're going to be playing Hackfist. They're going to be playing Mei all the time.
What if Dallas just gets Sigma from Odyssey? Actually, I don't know if he's playing from...
I won't speak on Contenders.
I know he's just like a Tracer god, but I don't know if he is NA resident. But if they need a Tracer player NA Contenders, kind of there.
I feel like the thing is, if you look at that deal that you're getting as a player, if you are an amazing player, then you come in, you probably have a great salary, whatever you're doing.
Sure.
You come in into a team that if you can push it to the next level in terms of like actually providing a competent hit scan on all the heroes, I will also say I don't think Erkey was that person either.
No.
Then you could legitimately make them a title contender just by the virtue of you. So you're joining a team that already feels like a family, probably has a great salary, has pretty sweet accommodation, and then you're making them one of the best teams in the Overwatch League. That is a sweet deal. Problem being, I don't see... there's no clear candidate where you could go to a team that wouldn't automatically like demand astronomical buyouts because they know you are desperate.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, that's what I'm gonna keep just like pushing this narrative. Dia doesn't have a buyout.
Shut up with your Dia shit.
Dude,
you're not getting Dia on this team.
But like honestly, like it makes so much fucking sense just like from like the the narrative of what the hero pool, the fact that he comms in Korean.
He has calmed. I don't think it's strong.
No. They only they calmed in Korean and English only on on CC, and he's been doing it for like a year. Like if there was. I fucking want it so goddamn bad.
I want him in the league too. I just don't. I don't know.
He would fit so good in this team. Like it is a match made in heaven that he would go to this team.
I won't be mad if it happens.
He fits the long range hit scan. He fits the tracer play. The only thing he doesn't fit is the fact that you have to get him a visa. And
that's a pretty big fit.
Yeah, it's a pretty big deal. I'm just very high on my Dia stonks right now, and that I think that he should be in the league in some capacity.
Chat, did Godsby have a US visa? Was he here at some point?
I mean,
do we know
season
that?
2, but
I don't know if that like that's where it's like I don't know.
I don't know about these
where it's like maybe Sominsu, maybe Godsby. Like Spark has a lot of talent that they're just kind of having sit around. Like that would be another team you could tap into.
The thing is, there's always like something. Maybe New York just randomly got their players US visas, and suddenly you can get like one of their like
if you snipe Guangboon,
yeah, that's a snipe. Yeah, I mean, but you probably also got to pay an arm and a leg for that.
Yeah, but it's Dallas.
Happy's not going to.
Yeah, Happy's not.
No, I did. Houston shouldn't like.
Come on,
put him in like just put him in like styrofoam and just like make sure he doesn't go anywhere.
It's also you. I mean, as an NA team, do you really want to sell if you're one of the top teams and you're like in a position where you can make them actually like?
Christ,
nuts?
No.
Yeah,
someone said DM. But I don't think
I don't think Shanghai's
Shanghai gets rid of it.
And visa issues are still persistent right there, right?
Yeah.
What about Erster then? Because Erster has an A visa because he was on Atlanta, right?
Do you want?
I don't think
for
he's
that position?
Moon though.
Well, you want
think he could play it, but it's
his
not.
Tracer's very good.
I mean, at that point, you can also almost say libero, like.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you could, but I don't know.
You probably pay less for libero too.
Yes.
Not to the same level as Erster, but I think at that point I'd be willing to argue libero. But
so thin.
They need somebody.
Yeah, it's because I mean, the whole issue is that you have to do this like mid-season. So even if you get someone, you're probably not going to get them for a while on.
It sounds like they have some feelers out there. They've got some lines cast, so we will see. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Sure, we'll get some info soon enough.
Yeah, and there's a lot of technicalities involved in terms of the visa situation for them. What is feasible for them to play? What sometimes you just have like, for instance, Punk. What kind of nationality do you think he is? You would have thought Australian, right? Nope.
Sure.
Is U.S. citizen, right? So sometimes stuff like that happens, right?
Interesting.
Where like just out of left field, someone is just American and doesn't need a visa, right? Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, hoping for the best because I feel like this team is really close to being good. And I also feel for them that they aren't because while this Tracer issue would have persisted, it's not one that would have necessarily ruined their season, I feel. Right, okay. Time's not on our side, so we got to run those Preds.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, no offense. No offense, but like we're not going to talk a lot about Paris against Vancouver. So, Joe, who you got there?
I I'm not gonna lie. I didn't hate Vancouver. I'm gonna say Paris. I have
Paris
Paris.
3-0.
I
Paris
can't.
3-0.
I can't. Yeah.
Yeah,
Nah,
Paris
that's a Paris.
it's not
3-0.
3-0. I don't think
I
it's
have a
3-0.
3-0.
I don't think it's 3-0 either, but
Maybe 3-1. I'll change it.
Gladiators against Spitfire.
Fuck, dude. Okay, I have Glads 3-1, but this is the last. Like, this is the last. I'm not gonna. Holy fuck!
You're
I'm
sitting
worried
down
that they'll
there on
lose.
the predictions table, Kenobi. Like,
I have to. Yeah, I have to fucking. I can't pick London though.
oh,
'cause I
look
just,
at Joe. Kenobi, look at Joe. He's trying to find courage in this cowardly heart.
Glads 3-1. Glads 3-1. I can't fucking. I can't do. They have
Okay.
to. They have to bounce back here.
Busan, I think, is good for Glads. I'm looking basically for maps that London can just force rush and just like diff them.
Okay, but like
I look at Havana. I don't hate that. It depends on the double shield, which
I
kind
have
of
it
feels
3-2.
like
I have it
Glads.
Glads 3-2. Like I don't think it's like out of the realm of possibility that London will win this.
See, I'm leaning slightly. I'm gonna say London 3-2.
Oh my
Okay.
God, he said it.
I
Okay.
think Ilios is the
Okay.
difference maker. I think that map in general feels like you can kind of really be obnoxious with rush. I look at Volskaya. I think they're going to do well. I think
Don't
Glads
say
is
too
probably gonna
much.
roll out
Just
with some weird
enjoy
stuff.
when you get the Pred right. Don't be
Yeah,
right for the wrong reasons. Just enjoy it. That's what I do always.
I'll
Just get lucky.
say London 3-2. I don't trust Glads to get it done in a week.
I do, and that's
I
why
do too.
I
do too.
think this is a safe.
But I think
play.
I
I
think they
promise,
will-
Chad. I'll
they
stick
will-
with this.
They
No.
will. They will squeak it out. They will like
It will be a squeak. If it happens, it will be a squeak.
Okay,
will not- they're not-
guys,
roll over London. There's no
Yeah.
way. London.
the next one is
I-
Juice.
The next one's is Juice.
The next one is
Eternal?
Juice. It is
Are you-
Chengdu Hunters
Yeah.
against the
Oh,
New York
oh, oh, oh.
Excelsior.
I know where you're going, and I know where I'm going.
3-1 Chengdu.
I'm saying 3-1 Chengdu.
I'm saying 3-1 NYXL.
Okay, we will see.
Yeah, I
We
mean,
will
I
see.
haven't. I don't know any of the juice. I keep hearing NYXL's very
Here's some
good.
good stuff.
I keep hearing that.
I heard some good shit about Glads in Atlanta too. So
Last
we'll
time
see.
Guangboon played against
All
anyone
in,
from
all in.
TTC got fucking pounded.
Look, I bet on black like 2 times already. I lost almost my money, so I'm
Yo,
I just
Yiska's
keep.
on the.
I'm betting on
Scrims,
Scrims.
Yeah,
I'm
Yiska's
betting on
on
Scrimbux.
Copium.
I'm throwing them in, and then eventually, when they come right, maybe I can break even. That's basically my strategy at the moment.
I have 3-1. Because I actually like realistically, I don't see a player on New York Excel that I don't think is actually like. No, actually, that's not true. I was gonna say I think Chengdu matches up pretty well against
That's a tough opener.
NYXL in power level.
That's a tough opener.
I think-
Like I think main tank they have an advantage. I think Chengdu has a main tank advantage.
Yeah.
They're to be fair, also Elsa like people shit on Elsa a lot, but he actually played like pretty decent against Shanghai and against
1 week. We'll give
Valiant.
you know.
I
give him
mean,
time.
he actually was on the map.
He
and
should
not
look
just, like,
decent
he
too.
wasn't a
So
warrior.
there's that.
Kenobi, even if I gave you literally every position but Jonak, I don't think it's about that in that match. Like, this
No, no,
team
no,
has
I mean-
consistently been described to me as the most cohesive team that teams have scrimmed.
That
Uh,
wouldn't shock me.
We'll
That
see.
wouldn't shock me.
Like-
But
don't know.
who's the best team at breaking down cohesive teams? Chengdu.
The Chengdu zone, yes. But
Yeah, it's the zone.
I
just drag him
I
down.
gotta see it, Ray. I mean, if you want to
Yeah.
show it to us, like, be my guest, but I gotta see it first. Like,
Guangboon
they
is
just
way better than Jimmy. Someone asked in chat.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
not
yeah.
even close.
Yeah, yeah,
Guangboon, I don't know if he's better than Leave, but
Comes down to basically
Depends.
Feather and Jinmu.
I think my mind tells me Guangboon is just going to take Leaf
he's
to town.
very good, dude.
He's
very-
going
I
to
wouldn't
take
be,
Leaf
I
to
wouldn't
town.
be
He is
shocked.
good.
Wouldn't
He
be
is
shocked.
good.
Guangboon's really good.
I think he's got an
And
issue
then
with Gaga.
Flora,
though.
dude. Oof, like, we'll see. We'll see. I think this. Yeah, I don't think
It'll
people
be a good
understand yet what kind of a monster that team will be,
Mhm.
and
Yeah, 'cause
especially
we haven't
with
seen him.
Yeah, we-
especially like with the top dogs like as weak, they might just be the best one. We'll
Could be.
see. We'll see. And
Could be.
Chengdu is definitely the type of competition that you want to see and
to open up. This is a good one.
to open up.
for.
Yes, it's also like let's be honest, these are all young players with a couple of exceptions. That's a trial by fire for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, let's fire these through. Fusion Spark.
Philly 3-1. I
Fusion
don't
Spark.
I don't know
Yeah,
what the fuck I'm seeing from Spark. Is it like the Chinese roster,
I hate
Korean
this.
roster? Is it a melange of the two? I don't know. I have no idea.
We'll be
I
huffing
can't.
some melange here in a second.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No
This
Say
is
it.
tough.
Come on. It's not that hard.
I have to go with Philly. I'll say Philly
Yeah.
3-2.
I'll go Philly 3-1. Okay, that's not that same match again. That's the encore match. Houston against Paris.
Houston 3-0.
Yeah, agreed. Okay.
Okay, dude, this is where I have a little bit of a
I don't have
The
maps.
Okay. I picked Boston 3-2.
But you don't like. Do they really go 0-4?
I really like Boston, dude. I really do.
I don't like IM37. That's my issue.
That's the one, yeah, but I like the rest of dude. Myunbong, come on now, my son.
I can't do that to Glads. I think it's gonna be an
Imagine
absolute...
how right you would be, Joe. If you also got that one.
No. I mean, I like the sounds of me getting it right, but I just don't think it's gonna happen.
I have Boston 3-2.
Well, I mean, if they do lose to London.
Well, okay. We're saying that Rush is the bad comp for Glads, right? Is that what we're kind of like going off of, or?
Not necessarily. I think for London in particular, I think that's where they're gonna thrive, and I think where they
Uprising's Rush probably slaps. Like Fusions, fucking that's the Reinhardt I want.
If they lose to London, and if Boston is practicing as hard as I'm hearing, oh, this is gonna be another squeak.
That's why I said 3-2.
I'll say 3-2. Fuck it.
I wish I had collected Scrimbux before this, and I might still adjust my pick'ems based on.
I mean, GBS is. I hope GBS plays like GBS and Fusions. I think is a fucking.
That would be nice. Yeah. I'm not sure if GBS is so clearly better than Punk, by the way. That's another side
I
point.
think Punk, like if they want to play like Sigma Rush, like Double Shield, I think Punk can come in because I think Punk's Sigma is actually really good.
I think they might need to.
So I'm saying 3-1 Glads.
I'll say 3-2 Boston.
Right into the next juice.
Okay.
Washington Justice against Dallas Fuel.
3-2 Washington.
Oh.
I don't think it'll. I wish I had maps. I'm gonna be real with you.
Yeah.
I'll say 3-1 Washington. I think you've seen enough of Dallas to know what to expect on the given maps, and I think they should be prepped for it. Yeah, I think Washington can do a lot more than Dallas. I think Dallas is going to be a little telegraphed. They could be saved by maps, but I think just generally, I think Washington's a better team.
Yeah, I agree. 3-1 Justice as well. Okay, New York Spark.
3-1 XL. I was also very close to putting this 3-0 because I think everything that I hear about it.
I think it's.
I see. The thing is, what I'll do with this match is I'll watch Philly versus Spark, and then I'll probably make my prediction for this one.
Right.
Yeah, I'll say
like day one impacts these next 2 days. Like,
and I will do that as well.
Agreed.
Don't hold me
but
to
like
that
off the face, it's I say 3-1 NYXL. Just if we're going.
Yeah. I'll say
I don't know what the fuck Spark is gonna do.
New York 3-1 unless Spark looks like
really good,
some good shit against Philly.
Yeah,
but yeah, preemptive prediction: New York over Spark.
Right.
Well, you already know for the next one.
You already know, baby.
You already know.
I'm back on my bullshit.
NYXL, by the way, as well. And then you guys would say Hunters.
Hunters 3-2.
Hunters 3-1.
See, this is where my inner bullshitter just like wants to get you guys. You know, like be the Chengdu believer and go like, how did he know with the Shanghai? And then just do the heel turn and also be right.
Back. Yeah.
That would be sweet. Now I don't have the Scrimbux on how the Fusion are currently doing. I doubt it would help me much because they seem to be such a match day game. Mm-hmm. I think based on what I've seen, I have to give it to Hunters. Even though I'm really concerned about that value match. I'm not gonna lie. Like I don't know if it's just like trolling.
That bad.
I don't know if that's something they voluntarily do. I'm not going to talk about sandbags on this podcast anymore, but
That's right. You better not.
It was not that bad. It was just
Right.
one map.
yeah.
Get it out of the way, Valiant. You won a map. Good for you.
All good, all good. Now, I don't think that's that hard. Houston Outlaws against the London Spitfire.
I think
3-1.
this is a rush diff. This is 3-1.
3-1 Outlaws.
3-1 Houston.
Houston.
Yep,
Yeah,
agreed.
Yep.
Baby.
This one's tough.
Boston against Dallas Fuel.
3-2 Dallas.
Yeah, I'll say 3-2 Dallas.
See, that match can go either way.
I think it can. It's a coin. It's a coin flip. It's a coin.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Certainly could. That's the end of the week. All right.
Yeah, week's over.
Thanks for coming, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for
By the way,
playing.
I'd probably go Boston here, just to a gut feeling. But yeah, okay. The last match, the Washington Justice against the Vancouver
3-0.
Titans.
3-0.
Yeah, 3-0.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. I really don't hate Vancouver. I thought they have like
They're
they have
okay.
something going. Like they're okay, but
They're not.
yeah,
They still might be like. I don't know if they're actually. I don't know. I don't think they're the worst team now at the moment. Maybe they still are.
I'm not
worst
sure.
team.
That's hard to say.
No.
Maybe worse.
Valiant's
Than
pretty bad.
It's pretty poop.
I did see a Nano Sombra teleport to the back of the map and then do absolutely nothing. So that's pretty not great.
Yeah.
Who was that Sombra? Was that Eren?
That sure was.
Yep. Sounds about right.
That was pretty not good.
Yeah.
But yeah, Vancouver looks okay, but I don't think they're capable of
Washington's
beating
gonna have a
the
hot
Justice.
day and just fucking clap.
Quickly get on with it.
Oh, it was Crystal?
Oh, was it Crystal? Okay.
Same. Not shocked the other way.
By Desert Bear is a question. If Houston wins those matches 3-0 and 3-1, are they locked in its first seed for May Melee? No, because theoretically speaking, Justice couldn't drop a map and get it that way. So not quite, but they're certainly qualified, even if they just like win one of those matches, which they absolutely should based on the results they had last week. Right. Okay, we kind of breezed through these. I'm happy with how we landed. Yeah, so once again, I suppose as a closing out, we do hang out watching those matches in Discord, which is I think which you can reach by typing in discord.me/tacticalcrouch, all one word. Brings you to them. We'll see if we keep using the match, like the stage feature wasn't great, like a big fan of that. Just to I probably won't be in them for the entire time, because like I noticed, like if I want to get post-match stuff done, note taking is better when I'm by myself, so to speak. But then I come in, and then keep in mind also, like I will ask people what they're interested in based on the matches, and I've secured 2 additional post-game matches. Right, so let's do the roundup. Kenobi, what's going on in your professional Overwatch life in the next couple of days, weeks?
Not too much, honestly. I'm pretty much I pretty much not have too much going on. I did China yesterday for the English podcast, but you should all still watch the rest of the games that are on today and tomorrow. They're finishing up the first season of playoffs. So that was a lot of fun. Collegiate's over, but I may be doing something about that at some point soon. But yeah, I'm just trying to finish my finals and get good grades and boost my GPA for next semester. But yeah, that's pretty much. I also have a Tactical Crouch project in the works that I'm doing for school that I will probably share with all of you.
Nice.
Hopefully you'll enjoy it. But yeah, that's what's going on for me. You can find me at KenobiCasts on Twitter. I'm kind of close to 1,000 subscribers. 1,000 followers. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
Oh, let's
go. So yeah,
Kenobi.
Yeah, that would be. That's pretty much all I have. I will probably be doing some sort of like Reddit or just my Twitter threads about the first week of China at some point. So be on the lookout for that.
Sweet. Joe, how about you?
I may make a video highlighting Seoul and the difference between Seoul and Glad's fair comp. I thought it was super interesting to see the differences and looking at Brother Muse there basically. Not necessarily just his fault, but he definitely blundered quite a bit. So there might be a video in the works. I think later on today, me and Mushu Beef are going over Vision Striker's first loss to some, funnily enough, notable Overwatch players. Shout outs to Zunba and Bunny. Zunba looks quite good on the Astra, so give that a look if you're into Valorant. And then I just got a couple emails back, so we'll see what kind of interviews are in the works. And yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Go follow Kenobi.
Sweet. So as for me, like post-match interviews, look out for those. If you want to catch up on some of these, in my opinion, the one I did with Jaxi is probably the best short-term interview, or one of the best I've done in like 12 years of content creation or more. Really heartfelt interview. Jaxi is always someone that pushes himself, possibly to a fault. It was
also
no
a really
less.
good cook, apparently.
I had to hold something back when I asked what went wrong today, and he not verbatim, but basically said it was me that made the difference at the end, meaning I botched it. Furthermore, I'm still not over the striker boost. I'll tell you straight up, I don't think it should be legal. And I can't believe that we're brushing over how the legality is. I feel like
you didn't like the striker. Is this the striker McCree thing that you're talking about?
Yes, based on the available information that I got from people that should know. So while it is confirmed that this play is legal, just I'm not happy with how the rules are currently working, and expect it to piece tomorrow. I asked around a bunch of people. That piece will probably hit your feed shortly before the games go live. There is something that needs to change about rules in the Overwatch League. I hated the malleability. I didn't hate that malleability. I actually quite like that feature because we need to adapt to uncertain situations instead of running broken system into the ground. What I hate is the lack of transparency and conclusiveness and follow through. It feels like my inner law student has been egged on by this repeatedly over the years, and I think it is high time that we have a discussion about rules in the Overwatch League, because they aren't intuitive. They just simply aren't. And as much I hope to inform tomorrow. Check it out. It's probably going to hit sometime, let's say 7 p.m. CET, so like 2 hours before the matches start. Okay. And it will just be an aggregation of feedback I've collected. Nice. Right. Otherwise, was a banger, guys. Like, thanks a lot for everyone that tuned into Twitch. I saw the viewership numbers were like quite high. I think we got high into the high 60s, 160s, even 170s occasionally. So thanks a lot for those guys. Once again, if you want to check out more, like, we're available on all podcast platforms you can think of. We're available, of course, on YouTube. You can catch us on Twitch. Yes, today we had to reschedule based on like my availability on Wednesday, but also we hope to have John back, because it's always a very different experience and we miss him a lot. Mm-hmm. So hope to see you back, buddy, next week.
Hope all is well.
Love you, KT.
Thanks a lot to Kenobi for coming on once again, being the Batman of this podcast. You might actually be the person with the most appearances now. I'm not sure. You're probably at least tied.
I have 3 now. Yeah, I have 3 now.
Right. Yeah, I think that should be tied with like Christopher or something.
Yeah. Right. Sounds about right.
Right.
When Chengdu wins Overwatch League, I'll come back and break the record.
That's when we break out the glass and Kenobi comes in and gets to be an insufferable bitch on Twitter.
Yeah. Oh, I already was. That happened. No, I tweeted before the game against Shanghai. I said I can't
I
believe
know
it.
you did.
I'm so glad we get Achilles and Avril to cast Chengdu beating Shanghai.
Yeah.
Good man.
Yeah, I'm also so glad for Avril that he made Overwatch League.
Yeah,
Great
shout out to
debut.
Avril.
Also, like, friend of the show. Shout out to Avril here. Definitely like one of the casters that isn't in mute land for me personally. So enjoyed that a lot, and enjoyed the opening weekend a lot, as I expressed in the piece I wrote this weekend. I think the production is up a
So
lot.
glad Owl's back.
Like, it's a great feeling to have Owl back. It's also a great feeling that so much of the stuff we've said over the years that should be part of the broadcast, like constant player cams, like like funny skits once again to a degree, like the clips that we lost due to the transition. I mean, yes, you can think about the drops what you want, but it adds to the numbers that every other esports does as well. So I don't think it necessarily degrades whatever we have here. Overall, congratulations to the Overwatch League as well for a great opening weekend. Arguably the strongest since the inaugural season.
I'd say so.
Great
And
selection
all
of
online.
talent. So all online, very good shout. I think so the stuff that Jaws talked about in the leaky bit thingy, I think he had a clip on Reddit where he said there's going to be something very like that people will love. From my observation of what people love in content, I wholeheartedly agree. It's not necessarily my cup of tea, but I think that's also great content what's coming down the pipe there. So definitely, like, as a package as a whole, I think we can at least congratulate the Overwatch League. The games, we will have to see. The viewership is higher than I expected. So, once again, glad to have the Overwatch League back. Glad to talk to you guys about that as well. You had a point?
You know who else needs a congratulations?
Who?
Our fabulous patrons. That's Refined Bead, Freddy, Battle Crab, Lulshin, Rexane,
Nice.
Trigger
Good
Flop,
one.
Porkchop Sammy, Kasha67, Char, Nathan Your Misery, Fabled Steven, Roger B, Chris Art 34444, Bronze Bob Buhau, and Hotel Bravo 1, and I believe Jake H. And if not, shout out to you.
Very good point, and very good closer to this episode that actually landed quite well under the 2-hour mark for basically what we used to do in 2 podcasts. So without adult supervision from John. Hopefully, John, we got you back next week. Otherwise, thank you guys for tuning in. That was an episode of Technical Crouch, of which I forgot which episode it was.
171.
171.
There
Here
you
we
go.
are.
That was
Professionals.
See you guys next time.